If we gonna overcome our fear, we have to anchor ourselves to our daily habits of faithfulness. If our commitment to God is casual, then fear will easily push us away. Our faith sustains us through our darkest moments by shifting our focus from the size of the fear to the power of our protector. We're in a new series entitled, Whom Shall I Fear? And so y'all know it's a new month, it's October, and so the series title for this month is Whom Shall I Fear? And so today we're looking at on the book of Daniel, and we're going to read chapter 6, verses 1 through 28. I know some of y'all said, man, that's a lot of verses. I know. Some of y'all ain't read 30 verses in a row. It's all good. It's a good story. I want y'all to really catch what happens in this story. Daniel chapter 6, verses 1 through 28. And it reads, Darius the Mede decided to divide the kingdom into 120 provinces, and he appointed a high officer to rule over each province. The king also chose Daniel and 2 others as administrators to supervise the high officers and protect the king's interest. Daniel soon proved himself more capable than all of the other administrators and high officers. Because of Daniel's great ability, the king made plans to place him over the entire empire. Then the other administrators and high officers began searching for some fault in the way Daniel was handling the government affairs, but they couldn't find anything to criticize or condemn. He was faithful, always responsible, and completely trustworthy. So they concluded our only chance of finding grounds for accusing Daniel will be in connection with the rules of his religion. So the administrators and high officers went to the king and said, Long live King Darius. We are all in agreement, we administrators, officials, high officers, advisors, and governors, that the king should make a law that will be strictly enforced. Give orders that for the next 30 days, any person who prays to anyone, divine or human, except to you, your majesty, will be thrown into the den of lions. And now, your majesty, issue and sign this law so it cannot be changed. And an official law of the Medes and Persians cannot be revoked. So King Darius signed the law. But when Daniel learned that the law had been signed, he went home and knelt down as usual in his upstairs room with its windows wide open towards Jerusalem. He prayed 3 times a day, just as he had always done, giving thanks to his God. Then the officials went together to Daniel's house and found him praying and asking for God's help. So they went straight to the king and reminded him about his law. There's always some folk like that. Did you not sign a law? Listen how they said. Did you not just sign a law? I added just. That for the next 30 days, any person who prays to anyone, divine or human, except to you, your majesty, will be thrown in the den of lions? Yes, the king replied, that decision stands. It is an official law of the Medes and Persians that cannot be revoked. Then they told the king, that man Daniel, one of the captives from Judah, is ignoring you and your law. He still prays to his God 3 times a day. Hearing this, the king was deeply troubled, and he tried to think of a way to save Daniel. He spent the rest of the day looking for a way to get Daniel out of this predicament. In the evening, the men went together to the king again and said, Your Majesty, you know that according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, no law that the king signs can be changed. So at last, the king gave orders for Daniel to be arrested and thrown into the den of lions. The king said to him, May your God, whom you serve so faithfully, rescue you. A stone was brought and placed over the mouth of the den. The king sealed the stone with his own royal seal and the seals of his nobles so that no one could rescue Daniel. Then the king returned to his palace and spent the night fasting. He refused his usual entertainment and couldn't sleep at all that night. Very early the next morning, the king got up and hurried out to the lion's den. When he got there, he called out in anguish, Daniel, servant of the living God, was your God, whom you serve so faithfully, able to rescue you from the lions? Daniel answered, "Long live the king. My God sent his angel to shut the lions' mouths so that they would not hurt me. For I have been found innocent in his sight, and I have not wronged you, your majesty." The king was overjoyed and ordered that Daniel be lifted from the den. Not a scratch was found on him, for he had trusted in his God. Then the king gave orders to arrest the men who had maliciously accused Daniel. He had them thrown into the lion's den along with their wives and their children. The lions leaped on them and tore them apart before they even hit the floor of the den. Then King Darius sent this message to the people of every race and nation and language throughout the world: "Peace and prosperity to you. I decree that everyone throughout my kingdom should tremble with fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, and he will endure forever. His kingdom will never be destroyed, and his rule will never end. He rescues and saves his people. He performs miraculous signs and wonders in the heaven and on earth. He has rescued Daniel from the power of the lions." So Daniel prospered during the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persians. You may be seated. The title of the conversation that I would like to have with you all on today is entitled, "You Don't Scare Me." You don't scare me. Somebody look at your neighbor, tell them, "You don't scare me, you don't scare me." That was the wrong neighbor. Look at your other neighbor, tell them, "You don't scare me, you don't scare me, you don't scare me." Does anybody in here other than me find it kind of crazy that in life we have to deal with people who are just determined to find something wrong with us? And not because we've done something wrong, but simply because of our excellence and our commitment. It's crazy to me, Pastor Furby, how you can be doing the right thing and doing what you're supposed to do, and it causes people to not like you. I don't understand that, bro, Chris. How you not like me and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do? And what I realized is when people don't like you for what seems to be no reason, they really don't like you because of the assignment that's on your life. And it seems like they don't like you for no reason, but the real issue is that they dislike the call that God gave you. And the problem is they can't admit that they don't like the assignment that God blessed you with, so they try to find ways to prove that you don't deserve it. And then when they can't find anything, they make stuff up, come up with things and implement ways to try to prevent you from reaching your potential. Y'all would be amazed at the subtle things that people do to try to keep me and Dr. Keshia from reaching the destiny that God has for us. And what they do is, y'all, they do it so subtle because you know people good at doing little stuff and then acting like, "I don't know what you're talking about." No, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But then what happens is what we have to be like Daniel and stay focused and keep our faith regardless of what they trying to do. I ain't worried about you because you can't stop nothing no way. Because King Darius elevated Daniel to a position of great power, and he was planning to put him over the entire kingdom, and the other officials became jealous and resentful. So they couldn't stand the fact that a faithful servant of God was succeeding where they had failed. And that jealousy led them to try to discredit Daniel, and they knew they couldn't attack his professional conduct, so they tried to attack his faith. So what that shows us is when we live a life of integrity, our enemies will start to target our values and beliefs. When they can't assassinate your character, they'll attack your Christianity. Daniel won't only faithful to God, but he was responsible and integral in his work for the king. His commitment and his excellence, even in his secular duties, kept him away or kept him from any legal or moral challenge. And so ultimately, the officials realized that the only way to trap Daniel was by making up a situation where his faith would put him in direct conflict with the law. See how the enemy plays? I can't get you morally, so I'll attack your faith. That's why the Bible tells us to be on guard, because God knows that the enemy will attack your faith. The officials declare, we will never find a reason to accuse Daniel unless it relates to the law of his God. When our integrity is unwavering, our enemies have to expose their own malice by attacking the very things that make us faithful. This is where you have to have, or that's why you have to have integrity. That's why you have to have good character, because if you don't, the enemy can use your own shortcomings and let you do yourself in. But when you have good character and when you have integrity, they can't wait on you to make their mistake for yourself. Now they got to show their hand trying to do you in. And I believe this lesson will show us how Daniel's unwavering faith provides a blueprint for overcoming our fears. So if we're going to overcome our fears, point number one, we had to have a stubborn faith. We have to have a stubborn faith. It's in verse 10. It says, but when Daniel learned that the law had been signed, he went home and knelt down as usual in his upstairs room with its windows open towards Jerusalem. He prayed 3 times a day, just as he always had done, giving thanks to God. So what is, I know some of y'all sitting here asking, what is stubborn faith? What is a stubborn faith? Stubborn faith is the unflinching resolve to remain dedicated to God regardless of the consequences. I'll read it again. Stubborn faith is the audacity to remain dedicated to God regardless of the consequences. So let's think about the story. The officials couldn't find anything morally wrong to attack Daniel with, but they knew he prayed to God 3 times a day. So they tricked the king into signing a law that says anyone who prays to God or anything else for the next 30 days will get sent to the lion's den. Now, Daniel's response to this death threat, this death sentence, was a stubborn faith helping him to overcome his fear. It said when Daniel learned that the law had been signed, he went back home, y'all, and sat in front of, he didn't get back in the house and close the window. Daniel went back home, prayed in front of that open window like he normally does. Daniel didn't hide. Daniel didn't whisper. Daniel didn't change his routine. He he understood that compromising his prayer life out of fear of man would be worse, but would be a worse death than the lion's den. He had a stubborn faith. He didn't let the decree, the threat of death, or the surveillance of his enemies scare him away from his faith and what he believed. How often do we let people and things run us away from God, run us away from serving, run us away from talking about how good he's been to us for fear of judgment and for fear of what they gonna think and fear of what they gonna say? Daniel didn't run away. He stood on business and did what he always does. He got right back in front of that open window and prayed to God. And this teaches us that when fear whispers compromise, faith should shout consistency. If we're going to overcome our fear, we have to anchor ourselves to our daily habits of faithfulness. If our commitment to God is casual, then fear will easily push us away. But if our faith is something that we're not negotiating, like Daniel's 3 days of prayer, then our faith won't back down. When the world tries to attack our faith, demonstrate a refusal to let the enemy dictate the terms of your relationship with God. You got to have a stubborn faith. Don't let the devil back you down from compromising what you believe. We stand on that. David didn't get scared when he read the law. David went right back and got in front of his open window. David had a stubborn faith. So if we're going to overcome fear, point number one, we have to have a stubborn faith. But secondly, we have to have a supported faith. We have to have a supported faith. It's in verse 16 through 18. It says, so at last the king gave orders for Daniel to be arrested and thrown into the den of lions. The king said to him, may your God, whom you serve so faithfully, rescue you. A stone was brought and placed over the mouth of the den. The king sealed the stone with his own royal seal and the seals of his nobles, so that no one could rescue Daniel. Then the king returned to his palace and spent the night fasting. He refused his usual entertainment and couldn't sleep at all that night. So although King Darius was manipulated into signing this decree, he genuinely loved and respected Daniel. When he was forced to carry out the sentence, the king did everything he could to express his support and his hope for Daniel's deliverance. He said, "May the God that you serve so faithfully rescue you." Then he went back to his palace and fasted, y'all. He didn't even eat. And he refused his entertainment for the night. The king couldn't enjoy himself, and it said he couldn't sleep all night because he was concerned about Daniel. So the bottom line is, sometimes we need people to come beside us and help us carry out our faith. King Darius, after he told the people to go ahead and arrest Daniel, he came to him and said, "Man, listen, may the God that you serve so faithfully rescue you." He was basically letting Daniel know, low key, I'm standing in agreement with you. Don't tell nobody, but I really don't want the lions to kill you. Don't let nobody know, but I'm praying that God protects you. He was basically saying that just in case your faith might be wavering right now, I'm going to use mine. King Darius provided a moral and emotional support even when he couldn't overturn the legal mechanism. So even though he couldn't overturn the law that he signed, he stood on faith that God was going to keep Daniel. Even though he couldn't overthrow the government, he connected his faith with Daniel's and believed that even though they slay me, See, sometimes it don't matter what the law says. You just need somebody to stand in faith on your behalf. The law says I'm supposed to do 5 years behind bars, but I got a praying grandma. The law says I'm not qualified for this job, but I got a homegirl that stood on faith with me. The law said I ain't have enough credits to get in school, but my auntie threw a few prayers up for your boy. The law says I should never see the light of day again, but my mama fell on her knees. We need people who support our faith. A supported faith is having friends and mentors and family who prays for us and encourages us when fear tries to creep in. The support we receive strengthens our ability to face our fears. And when Daniel was in that dark pit, he knew a powerful king was on the outside den and was on the outside of the den fasting and praying for his survival. Who do you have praying for you when you're going through? Who's up all night asking God to protect you and cover you and see you through? Who's helping to support your faith? Who's telling you to ignore those haters? Who's reminding you that if he did it before, he'll do it again? Who's reminding you that you're the head and not the tail? Who's in your ear telling you that this can't be the end because God got plans for you? We have to have a supported faith. Even if our faith is not wavering, because, listen, the story never said that Daniel's faith was wavering, but it ain't nothing wrong with having a partner come alongside you with their faith. Let's double down on this thing. The Bible says where 2 or 3 are gathered, then he is there in the midst. So I'm cool with my faith on my own, but if I can get somebody to go in on the faith with me, I know that Jesus is in the mix for sure. In fact, why don't you grab a neighbor by the hand right now and just tell him, I'm believing with you, I'm believing with you, I'm believing with you. So if we're going to overcome fear, number 1, we have to have a stubborn faith. Number 2, we got to have a supported faith. But lastly, point number 3, we have to have a sustained faith. It's in verses 22 and 23. Says, my God sent his angel to shut the lions' mouths so that they would not hurt me. For I have been found innocent in his sight. and I have not wronged you, your majesty. The king was overjoyed and ordered that Daniel be lifted from the den. Not a scratch was found on him, for he had trusted in his God. The real test of Daniel's faith was its ability to sustain him when he faced the very fear that was designed to kill him. Daniel's faith was his shield. Listen to his testimony. He said, my God sent the angel to shut the lion's mouth so that they would not hurt me. Daniel knew it was because of his faith that God kept them lions off of him. His faith literally kept him from being harmed or killed. See, what we got to do, y'all, we got to start realizing what our faith can actually do. We got to really start realizing what our faith is capable of. Your faith can protect you. Your faith can heal you. Your faith can deliver you. It can provide resources for you. There's no limit to what your faith can produce. Mark 11:22 and 24 says, then Jesus said to the disciples, have faith in God. I tell you the truth. You can say to this mountain, be lifted up and thrown into the sea, and it will happen. But you must really believe it will happen and have no doubt in your heart. I tell you, you can pray for anything, and if you believe it, you'll receive it. See, you don't ever have to be afraid, because if you can only believe, your faith will sustain you through anything. Daniel's trust in God wasn't just a mental exercise. It was a spiritual reality that activated divine protection. Stop thinking that this stuff is just a fairy tale. That's why things don't happen for you. It's a spiritual reality that activates the divine in our life. Daniel's faith was sustained by a clear conscience and a right relationship with God. That's why he said, I've been found innocent in his sight. His unwavering confidence in God's power made the lions completely powerless. So when we trust in God's power, it makes the enemy powerless. The story said the next morning the king went out to check on Daniel, and not a scratch was found on him. Why? Because he had trusted in his God. So that's the formula, y'all. That's the formula. The formula is trust in God equals sustained faith, which equals divine protection. Let's say that again. Trust in God equals sustained faith, which equals divine protection. One more time. Trust in God equals sustained faith, which equals divine protection. Our faith sustains us through our darkest moments by shifting our focus from the size of the fear to the power of our protector. When we choose to trust, God's sustaining grace proves that the fear we face is never greater than the presence of the one who walks with us. Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, whose trust is the Lord. He's like a tree planted by water that sends out its roots by the stream and does not fear when heat comes, for its leaves remain green, and is not anxious in the year of drought, for it does not cease to bear fruit. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, and in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, and I will help you and hold you up with my righteous right hand. Commit thy way to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will act. Does anybody in here trust in the Lord? Come on, do you trust in him? Do you believe in him? Is your faith in him? Shout, I ain't never scared. I ain't never scared. I ain't never scared. Come on, if you ain't scared, go ahead and let the devil know. You can throw whatever you want my way, but I'm not going to compromise. You can throw whatever you want my way, but my faith not going to waver. See, we do all the running around and shouting. Now, sometimes you just gotta be just downright stubborn. Just gotta be stubborn. Gotta be stubborn in the spirit. The devil tried to attack us, man. I love Daniel. Cause Daniel, so you really gotta pay attention to the story. They made that law to Daniel. They already knew what Daniel did. And many of us, I really Daniel just showed such a good example of faith, because the bottom line is, many of us, we would have closed that window. We might would have went back and prayed 3 times, but we wouldn't have did it in front of an open window. No, Daniel was stubborn. I heard what y'all said. I'm going to come right back and pray in front of this open window so you can see me. I want you to see me. See, that's how you got to get with it. I want you to see me. See, y'all think there ain't nothing wrong with that. You can have that attitude with the devil. I want you to see me. I'm praying anyway. You're not going to cause me to compromise my faith. I got some stuff that I'm believing God for, and I can't, it's not going to happen if I'm ashamed. The Bible says if we be ashamed of him, he going to be ashamed of us.
Hey, family. Thank you so much for watching today. We truly believe that church is supposed to change lives. And we pray that today's experience has blessed you.
Absolutely. And if you're feeling led to make a spiritual decision, whether it's accepting Christ, rededicating your life, or becoming a part of the Mount Chesapeake, we want to make the next step as easy as possible.
It's simple. You can scan the QR code on the screen, text TMC to 54244, or visit themountleads.org right now.
Now, if you're unsure what these options mean, don't worry. We've got you covered. Visit themountleads.org and you'll find clear explanations for each decision and how we can support you on your faith journey.
If you're in the area, we'd love to have you visit us in person. We want to make your first visit as easy as possible and take the time to get to know you and your family.
We'll save you a parking space. We'll meet you at the door, help you get your kids checked in, and introduce you to a few of our partners.
So what do you say? Will you come hang out with us? We'd love to see you.
And in the meantime, stay connected. Follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can never miss a moment of what God is doing at TMC.
We love you and can't wait to see you and what God does in your life. See you next time.